Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the North East Non-League Show. Looking back with, and now we have Marc Richards. Marc, thank you very much for coming on the show tonight.
Absolute pleasure, mate.
Excellent, and always is sponsored by Beer Watch TV, Sun and West End, Durham City FC, and Jade Bell, and of course, proud to support If You Care Share Foundation as well. Something a little bit different, like Marc. We're going to go off the script a bit, aren't we?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Whatever
Definitely.
comes up, we go through.
Yeah. Might be a little
always...
bit of swear. There might be a little bit of swearing involved, but obviously you'll have to excuse that.
It's all fine. It's all fine. But no, getting to kind of like the early days, which you always look at, and we've had a few goalkeepers on now where they've either kind of played at academies and grown up kind of as a goalkeeper, or literally they've just been playing football since they were 16-year-old, coming in last minute and just thought, yeah, I'm going to go on net. How did it all start with yourself as a goalkeeper?
Well, to be honest, there wasn't really any academies when I was starting out, and I used to play up front. Believe it or not, I was a centre forward for the school. And I used to just play in goal on a weekend, on a Saturday, and it just went from there. But I seem to have it was a bit more. I was like more confident because I could use my feet when I was in goal, so it was ideal for me. And I played for like Hartlepool Boys Welfare for a lot of years. We won everything, and then there was nothing else I could win, so it was like time to move into the next step up, like the Northern League, which the manager, I supported my manager Alan Hughes. And he was fine about it. He said, "Go and better yourself, son," you know. So it went from there, really.
No,
it was
really
like Compass Credit I started with when I was 13-year-old. We had a great side. We absolutely broke St. Francis's Arts in the final, 3-2 after extra time. Unbelievable game. But yeah, and then it just, obviously, I moved on.
It's strange how like you say, we must have had about 4 or 5 keepers on now. I think there's only one where they've said they've literally came for, I think it was Shane Bland from Whitby for the Durham Academy, and the rest of them just thought, you know what it is, I'm just going to become a goalkeeper like later on after playing out in a different position. It's strange, isn't it?
Well, yeah, Peter was the same, wasn't he? Peter Jeffries. He was exactly the same. He played out. I mean, Peter's tough tackler, Peter. Do you know what I mean? He was dirty in goal as well. He used to let people know. Honestly, great lad. But yeah, it's weird, you know, how you play out and then you end up in goal. My missus always says they only put the daft ones in goal. So she's probably right. So yeah.
And how did the early days go in the Northern League? Obviously, stepping up to that level. I mean, around that football, we always talk on the show was people that's been around that era, and we call it the proper football days back then. How was it for yourself?
Well, I started off at Billingham Synthonia, and obviously when I went there, I thought, I mean, they were a good side. They had some great players, Sinners. And I went there, and when I went in their dressing rooms, oh, God, they all loved themselves, them, like the Borough lads. Honestly, I think they had a mirror each to kiss. They were unbelievable. But I think my debut was against CM Red Star. Paul Walker was player manager there.
Oh, yes,
and I'd had a decent game, and he got a grip of me, and he said, I'm putting 7 days in for you, you codhead. So he knew I wouldn't I wasn't set for Sinners. Do you know what I mean? Bit of a raggy lad. So I went to see him, and do you know what? Paul Walker is one of the best managers I've ever played under. Absolutely, on the pitch, what a player! Do you know? He's a great man. And then I had 5 good years at CM Red Star, which we had a great side. There was some brilliant players in there. Like John Milner, he was there. There was Michael English, who was a great player. Reggie Pearson, tough. Gary Pearson's brother. We had some really, really good players. And then it was obviously, like I say, I moved on to different clubs from there.
Not really. I know we've heard a lot about Paul Walker. I know my friend Paul Dooley keeps saying to try and get him on. I know we're trying to squeeze him in before we go on holiday because we're literally fully booked up with me now. It's crazy, but it'd be good to get on. He's got some good stories I've heard.
Oh, Walks, honestly, he's unbelievable, that man, and especially Dola as well. Dola used to wear his shorts because he used to play in front of me. Dola was playing when I was at CM Red Star, and the way he used to have his shorts rolled up, he may as well have had a thong on. Honestly, it was ridiculous. He had the fattest ass I'd ever seen. Do you know what I mean? But he's a great lad, Dola. Aye, what an ass he had.
I'll have to catch him off the show about that one. Like, as tall as that one, that's class.
Honestly, used to roll them right up. Remember how Craig Johnson used to for Liverpool? Because I think that was to show his tan off, Craig Johnson's. But Dola was as white as a sheet. And honestly, but yeah, good memories there to see him. Red Star, great. The committee, the lot, everyone there involved were absolutely superb.
Brilliant. I know we spoke to a few people who said that you're coming on. I know obviously Ian helps us with the Newcastle show that we do, even Davison. He's kind of said, forget like the early keepers now, and now you and all them do the sweeper keeper stuff. Back then it was you that started it, so credit to yourself. But yeah, I mean, like you say, you were comfortable obviously playing out. Is that where it kind of all came from?
That's what it was. Yeah, I mean, it sort of like takes a lot of pressure off the back four if you've got a goalkeeper that can use his feet. You know, see, I was always out in my box waiting for that ball coming over the top. You know, and I used to. There was nine times out of 10 it paid off, but sometimes I used to go on a little wander with the ball, and then I'd get caught out. You know what I mean? And but yeah, it was good. You know, and I was all about the quick player. Like if I got the ball, I would hit it straight away. Probably you've seen yourself at Durham,
Yeah.
my Durham days. It was one of them just to keep the game going fast, you know. But yeah, it's like you say, it's the best way for a goalkeeper to have someone who can use their feet, who are good with their feet. But Davo's a lovely lad, Davo.
Yeah, he should be watching. He said he's tuning in for this one.
I've
I
had
think a
some
lot of
laughs with
people
Davo. Like honestly, he's a nutter in, but lovely lad.
And you mentioned that obviously the 90s, and I know we've had loads and loads of players on kind of from this era, from different eras as well, but we've just said between like the 90s up to 2000 and the early 2000s, I mean, that's when I started getting to watching as well. It was just proper football. Men wanted to win a game of football at any cost, wasn't it? Leaving the elbow in, getting the tackle stuck in the 50-50s. It was just good to watch. But I would imagine playing it, you have some cracking stories from it.
Oh, Gary Pearson and Reggie were probably the best two tackling. Like they were absolutely brutal in the tackle them. And Paul Walker himself, he was quite clever as well. He could put a tackle in. But Gary and Reggie were the toughest tacklers I've ever seen and played with. But like I say, there was a lot of great players in round about that time. But they always stood out more for me. You knew if they were in the middle, they were going to win the battle for you. Do you know what I mean? It was they were very tough. Yeah.
And that's what you needed, didn't you? Like you say, it was a couple of them lads in your team. You knew you had a half a chance to win every game, pretty much, didn't you?
Oh, that was it. Yeah, you knew you were onto a winner with them in. You know, someone who was going to tackle. You know, just there was like when I played a crook, there was a couple of lads like that there. Michael Vasey, I don't know whether you ever remember him.
Yes, I
He
heard
had,
the
he
name.
had the most squeakiest voice. Honestly, he was 6 foot, I think 6'4", bald head. He would put his head through a brick wall. But when he used to scream for the ball, honestly, it was like he had a mouthful of helium. And some of the away fans that used to take the piss out of him, like, who's that? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, there was a lot of good tacklers and you know, good old fashioned footballers then. I mean, now it's all, you know, for me, the Northern League's not the same as it was. Do you
Yeah,
know? I might be wrong saying that, but back when I played, there was some very, very good players in there, and which you'll have seen for yourself.
oh, 100%. Like you say, I mean, looking at, I mean, I was watching, under Cost the other day. Kevin Ball was on. He's kind of mentioned about his time playing, and he said you had to stick up for yourself and had to be one or
Yeah.
two hard man in every team. I mean, who was like the kind of players that was standing out in the Northern League as the kind of hard nuts in the league at that time?
For the hard nuts in the league, well, like I say, it was obviously Gary and Reggie. They were the hard nuts. I mean, Reggie could fight as well. Do you know what I mean? As well as play football, so he had something to back it up if there was any show. And there was Mickey Vasey, Crook. I'm trying. Who else was it? Who else that was really tough? They were only the really ones that stood out for me. Do you know what I mean? Other than that, they were just the ones. There was nobody else really.
It was so good though because the referees like they knew the type of players, and like Kevin Ball said exactly the same. The refs
Yeah.
just let them get on. They said, right, you can kick lumps out of each other, but if you twist once, you'll get a yellow card. So just keep doing what you're doing. And I think that's how it kind of flowed. Where now it's just you just see them rolling around too much, and it's spoiled it a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, well, there was some good referees back then, and there was the likes of Russell Tiffin and stuff like that. There were good referees that let you get away with a little bit of the language. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me, obviously, they used to keep an eye on me. But we'll come to that. But yeah, some of the referees were better, do you know, because they knew and they just let you mix it, do you know, so it was ideal. Whereas now they're stopping it for the slightest little thing. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
I mean, like you say, talking about red cards next as well. I mean, one of the headlines when I was talking to you during the week as well, which I love, was the shot stop. I had to write this one down actually. That the shot stop was clattered by Chris White as the Frickley corner came in, and then grappled him to the floor. You see
Honestly,
the strikers coming in, you just go for it.
that game, right? He must have whacked me, this lad, about 7 or 8 times. I said to the referee, "Are you going to do anything?" And I was playing in a team full of kids because it was when
Yeah,
Durham we lost all the players, and it was hard enough as it was, you know. So anyway, I thought, right, if this happens again, I'm guaranteed to get a red card here. So anyway, the corner come over and he clattered me. So as I come down, I landed on top of him. So I strangled him. And I couldn't get off. I was just proper, like, I was just latched onto and strangling, and everyone was on my back. So then obviously I got the straight red. The referee, he didn't even book him. I said to the ref, I warned you, I told you what would happen. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, as I'm going off Frickley's ground, their stand, it was like a cage up the side. Well, all the fans were having a go. So I was trying to climb over the cage, fuming still. Do you know what I mean? Effing and blinding at them. But yeah, it was crazy, that game. I think they held on for quite a while. Young Reece Joblin, I think it was, went in goal. Must be the smallest goalkeeper I've ever come across, but he's got the biggest heart. Do you know what I mean? Lovely kid. And I was obviously sat in the dressing room, and then I was in the shower and I'd dead scored, but I think they ended up winning about 3-1, I think, something like that. But yeah, them kids, they were a credit to themselves, what they had to put up with, you know, especially me, because obviously I absolutely tortured them. But you know what? They were brilliant. They took it on board. Do you know what I mean? Because I was getting frustrated at the items that the team were getting, and it wasn't fair on them kids. But they stuck it out, and that's off to them, you know. So yeah.
But I think it was good as well to have someone like yourself, a character in the change rooms, because I think you look kind of a football now and football in the past where a lot of things now where you get them all in these podcasts and it'll be a lot of them certainly class as bullying now and stuff where you need some still people like that in the cheer rooms just play these pranks just to say something before kick off, just to break the nerves, and that sometimes don't you, especially when you're a full team of kids.
Yeah, it was, you know, it was just nice to see them like play with a smile on their face. You know what I mean? Because, like I say, every game was just a case of as and when the other team were going to score and how many it was going to be. Do you know what I mean? But you know, their confidence they still continued, and they were absolute dream to play with. The young ones, they were good lads.
No, really good. And like you say, mentioning Durham City, and that's kind of where I first fell in love with the Northern League game as well. And I always remember kind of the first couple of games you were in goal. We always stood behind the net. It was Roe, myself, and a couple of lads always used to go down. And I remember you were literally on the floor howling because they used to have like behind the goal there was like a zip line where I don't know if they pull the nets along before the game to stop the balls from going out as much as they can.
Yeah.
And the ball's come over, and my mate's gone to get the ball, and he's trying to kick it back, and it's bounced off this rope, it's came back. So he's left it, he's hit it again, it's hit the crossbar, it's bounced back, and he's got to kick it, and he's kicked the ball off the fence, and just came out and hit him. And like you on the floor laughing, the ref's just like laughing his head off like about this. And that's like, it's just non-league, and it's just little funny stories like that that you remember. And when I said, oh, I can't wait for you to come on, that was the first one that came to my head with them scores as well. But it's just brilliant. I mean, your free spells at Durham City, I mean, you must have enjoyed your time there.
Oh, do you know what a club that was? Do you know, it was a shame for what happened for the likes of Stu Dawson, because obviously he was an unbelievable chairman. Him, honestly, he was like the father figure to you. Do you know what I mean? He had all the time in the world to speak to you, and it was just absolutely superb. I mean, Brian's the most professional manager I've ever played under. Everything was done perfect with Brian. Do you know what I mean? He would ring you on a Friday night. You're playing out your skin, you know what I mean? He would just get you up for the game. I don't know whether he was checking up on me to see if I was in and not out on the drink on a Friday night. But like I say, I would never have done that at Durham, do you know what I mean? Because it was so professional. And that pitch, as you well know, Tommy Porter, he was an absolute credit to that, what he'd done to that ground. It was a joy to play on. And like you say, like the spells I had there, the first one when I was there with Brian was absolutely my best football in my life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The team we had, the players were unbelievable. I mean, Mickey Taylor, I don't know whether you were there when we played them in the Moseley game in the Vars. I think we were 2-0 down with about 20 minutes to go. Mickey Taylor come on and got an hat-trick.
I think I was at that one. I think it was one of the kind of around that age, not yes.
Yeah, we beat them 3-2. We were dead and buried. Do you know what I mean? I thought, well, we're out here. Mickey Taylor comes on, just come on to be a nuisance, and that's what Mickey was. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He would get in the ear, he'd stand on someone, and next thing he scored, and then he scored another, and then he gets another. Do you know what I mean? And like, wow, it was unbelievable. But like I say, I think we were unbeaten at home for quite a long time. But yeah, Brian was unbelievable manager. The best I've played for. Yeah,
Definitely.
very good. I mean, I've got to give a mention to Alan Shoulder when I played at Crook, which there'll be a couple of stories about that. He was another superb manager. Alan Shoulder, like you say, Paul Walker, Alan Shoulder, Brian Honor, the best I've ever been with. Unbelievable. Yeah,
Definitely. And one of their, obviously, what we've got to mention at Durham City, Steve Hickman, obviously, God rest his soul, and the laughs between you and him, honestly. I remember if we weren't behind the goal, if it was raining, we used to have to go and sit in the stand or stand in the stand. And it was just the ball used to go over and he used to shout, "Go and get that ball, Steve." And he said, "Fuck off, Rick." Oh, it was just, honestly, you used to have a laugh a minute before the kick-off. Brilliant.
He'd be away, do you know what I mean? Steve running for the balls and that, his little legs, do you know what I mean? He was like a little, like, how far away is he? He's tiny, Steve. And it, like you say, when he used to come in the dressing room, because he used to like put the strips and everything out, you know what I mean? And it was all, like you say, it was immaculate and proper professional. But Steve was brilliant, you know, and he'd come and ask me, like, what did you think today? What did you think? What was right and what was wrong? Do you know what I mean? But what a fella, Steve. Honestly, great bloke. There was a lot of nice people there at Durham. It was a lovely setup, and you know they were all just really nice people, and I had a great time there.
Definitely, like you say, looking at obviously the club now, hopefully get things sorted and try and push on again. But it's quite sad to see what's happened over the last decade, isn't it?
It's absolutely madness, honestly, because that club, my honest opinion, right? If that it had now gone pear-shaped when it did, they'd have been in the Football League then, because they'd have been in some. Do you know what I mean? They'd have been at the highest they could possibly go or whatever, because the players they had was scary. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you had Tofty, you had Tommy English, Kappa. I mean,
Couple of dogs, wasn't it?
They were
the
unbelievable. It was frightening. Do you know what I mean? And like the forwards, I think was Titch there, was Cogden there. I think he was
Cogden,
there.
Johnson, Richardson, Speed, unbelievable.
Unbelievable team. They were honestly they were brilliant. Do you know what I mean? The team just gelled. It was good, very good. They were a good side to watch them.
And I know that we've had Kappa and Tommy Young that both kind of said the same. Obviously, they've gone to Spennymoor, would drop down, and if they stayed where they were, the club where it was, God knows how far that team would have got in the prime as well, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, that's it. You couldn't fault the lads. At the end of the day, there was no money left there, and do you know what I mean? And they were worth the money. Do you know what I mean? To go and play at a better side, the likes of Spennymoor. I mean, Kappa's the best left back I've ever seen. The skills what he had, do you know what I mean? Still has probably, was just unbelievable. But like I say, I hung around because there was no point me trying to go there. I was getting on. Do you know what I mean? So I thought I'll give a little bit back and I'll stay for free. And you know, I think Stewie respected that.
Yeah.
So you know, it was one of them. I'll give a little bit back because you know I'd had a few quid off them. So you've got to give a little bit back. And but fair play to the lads for moving on. And look what they went on to do. Where they went. Do you know what I mean? They've won some great stuff. But yeah, so yeah, it's such a shame with Durham. But hopefully, do you know what I mean? They can get back. I don't honestly think they'll get back to where they were. But just have some sort of like, you know what, it's better than what it is now.
Definitely, just can't get that first win, don't they? But getting up the Northern League, and like you say, you played it for many years, different clubs. How special is that league to yourself? Looking back now,
honestly, that league was just unbelievable. It was honestly, it was a joy to play in. It was really good. I'll be honest with you, I don't miss it. It's weird. It's weird because you would think, you know, I don't really go out and watch more like non-league football because I used to be out all the time. Because like when I was playing, because I'm one of these who likes to watch players and see how they play, so I know when I'm playing against them. Do you know what I mean? And I know like what their strong points are. It was weird that I used to go out and watch that. You know what I mean? Somebody like myself who couldn't care about anything. Do you know what I mean? On the pitch, I'd just get out there and do what I had to do. But I would, and sometimes it worked. Do you know what I mean? It paid off for me. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. But I can honestly say I don't miss it. I mean, I've had a phone call off Kevin Devine asking me to go and play for Shevham over 40s.
Oh yes,
like, he's I think he must have took over there. and he's asked me to sign, and I'm like, oh God, here we go. You know what I mean? I'll have to get like a bath in a like a bath full of WD-40 after. I'd be knackered, but I can give it a go, see how it goes. It's one of them.
Good side. Well, that's I'm originally from Sherburn. I know a few lads. Well, I know Jeff used to. I think I don't know if he still helps run at Jeff Arnott, and a
Right.
few good players there, like doing really well. The climate they've had over the last few seasons, like so, it'd be a good move that one.
Well, they only need a decent keeper, don't they? So I don't know why they're ringing me. But no, I'll give it a go, see how it goes. Yeah.
And out of the clubs that you've played for in the Northern League, which is the clubs that kind of stand out now, looking back, the best memories that you've had or winning things? What would be the best clubs for yourself?
The best. Let's start with Crooktown. When I was there with Alan Shoulder, we had a good FA Cup run. We beat some good sides in the rounds before, which was Hyde United, which we held them. We drew with them at their place, and then we obviously imagine them coming to Crook on a Tuesday night in for the replay. You know you're a goal start straight away, don't you? Up there because it's freezing cold, and they were all pretty boys. Do you know what I mean? They fancied themselves. Anyway, we beat them, and then we drew Lee RMI in the next round, and we drew with them at their place, and we beat them on the Tuesday night at Crook. Then anyway, we went on to play Doncaster Rovers in the next round at their place. Anyway, Mike Newell was up front for them. They had some great players. It was run by the managers were Glyn and Ian Snowden. Was it the Everton?
So, yes.
There were the managers. Anyway, we were 4-0 down after 16 minutes while they were playing this song. It was a Wenger Boys song. Well, I knew it off by half time. Do you know what I mean? Because the battered us 7-0, which they were expected to. Do you know what I mean? But that was one of the highs for me, which was a fantastic achievement to play in. Do you know, get that fan play at a club, Doncaster Rovers, and then obviously one of my lows was the time at when we got beaten in the semi-final of the Vars against Whitley Bay. I think it was the first time Whitley Bay won it. I think we had to beat them 2-0 at home in the second leg, and we drew 0-0. But then we played them on the following Thursday in the League Cup and beat them 2-0. And they were all turning up with all their Predator boots because they got a load. There was a sponsor.
Yes.
And honestly, can you imagine me? I wanted to boot their changing room door for tinges. I swear to God, I was fuming, absolutely fuming. But yeah, that was my lowest point. I still think about that now. Like, if only, do you know what I mean? I mean, we had a chance. Gary Bennett, who we used to play for Sunderland, was playing for us. It was harder for him to miss, and he put one over. Like, he was on the line, and how he got it over the bar, I do not know. Do you know what I mean? I mean, like Dickie Ord played with Dickie, unreal player. Do you know what I mean? Took a lot of pressure off me because he never used to have to do anything. But yeah, other than that, that was my lowest point. But like you say, the eyes was with Crooktown. It was brilliant.
I know you mentioned the Vars there, and I know we've had a few players on, and how special it is to people in the North East. It's unbelievable. I know we had Bully on, Andrew Bulford, and he kind of said in these early stages, they went out the cup and he seen a few players lying on the floor crying. He kind of said, "What are you crying for? It's just a game." And then it kind of sunk into him then how big the Vars was. I think the season after he went on to win it or something like that. And he just sings it's like it's special to players, isn't it?
It's honestly, it stuck like with me for a long time. I was absolutely gutted because it's all you dream of is playing at Wembley. Do you know what I mean? And that was the chance. I thought I'm going to get to Wembley here because I was so confident that we would beat Whitley Bay. Do you know what I mean? It was we had chance after chance at their place on the first leg. We just couldn't score. And then they pinched one there, and they beat us 1-0 at their place, and obviously we drew 0-0. But it was so sad. Like I was absolutely gutted. But yeah, it's one of them.
Hard times, isn't it? But looking back the good times, what was like your most enjoyable moment? Kind of any league titles, any wins, any cup wins, anything like that?
The biggest win for me, right? And this is the God's honest truth, right? I had to take the day off work for this match, right? Because honestly, I had the shits all day long worrying about the match. We were playing Bedlington Terriers on the Friday night at Durham City. Anyway, I'd pulled a save off, right? John Milner had planted an header, bottom corner from it was just outside the 6-yard box. and he was away with his hand up, and somehow I managed to get down, and I scooped it around the post, and like that was the best save I've ever done. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't even believe that I got to it myself. And I was man of the match. Brian Honor come in at half time because I'd stopped everything with me elbow, my ass, everything. They flung everything at us. And Brian Honor come in at half time, and he had a pile of papers. He said, "You're man of the match already at half time." Do you know what I mean? And I was like, "Eh." And anyway, I think Mickey Taylor pinched one in the last 10, 15 minutes. We beat them 1-0 because they were flying. Them weren't they? They were football. They had a great FA Cup run. They beat. I think they beat Colchester 4-0. They beat some good sides, and they were flying. Because, like I say, there was John Milner, there was Dean Gibb, there was, Gibby, big strong centre forward, dirty centre forward, and all, by the way. And a little chappy on the wing. They had some unreal players, and to get that win was massive. That was a massive for me with Durham City as well. And it was headlines in the paper the next day. Richards single-handedly muzzles terriers. And I was like, oh my God, you know what I mean? I must have got an 11 out of 10 in the Sunday Sun. Honestly, I was checking it. But yeah, that was unreal, that.
That's what you want though. Like now, obviously, you get all over social media, Twitter, Facebook. In the back then, it was just in the paper, wasn't it? And you used to I remember like kids used to cut things out and stuff like that. But now, imagine like sharing that and the amount of likes and shares and posts, and if you pull that save off, it'd be on YouTube and stuff like that. It'd be unbelievable, man, wouldn't it?
Like that one what Peter Jeffries pulled off.
Yeah.
What he done there he's a freak. He's an absolute freak. How he saved that. Do you know what I mean? But that went viral all over the place. And I think he ended up on Soccer AM, didn't he?
He did. Mm-hmm.
He was on there with it all. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it was like you say, But that was my best ever save. That it was like a Gordon Banks off Pele's header.
That's what I was thinking when you said six. I mean? Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
John Milner says to me at half time, he says, "How the fuck have you kept that out?" I said, "John, I wouldn't know, mate." I said, "I just shut my eyes and I was down, and it just hit my hand and went out for a corner." But yeah, it was a good save. I will say that. But yeah,
brilliant, excellent. Almost hitting double figures now. Honestly, thank you so much, everyone that's watching. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button as well. We're getting towards that 1,000 now, which I know Marc's trying to help push as much as we can as well. So really appreciate everyone's support as we get there as well. Getting back to yourself, and obviously I know we spoke to Peter about this as well. The keeper, Fan Banter. I would imagine, obviously, I know you used to have a little bit of winding up with the fans as well. Any good and bad stories over the years?
Yeah, that was one of my main things. I used to look forward to it. I used to come out and see how many was behind the goal, because I thought, right, who can I wind up here? Do you know what I mean? And like the stick I used to get was all sorts. I'd be called, what would I be called? I'd be called Uncle Fester. I'd be called Sloth. There'd be all sorts. Do you know what I mean? There'd be stuff shouting, fans behind the goal. The eyed ones were terrible. But when I was at Doncaster playing at Doncaster against them in the FA Cup, they were shouting, "You baldy bastard," and all that. So I was just dropping me shorts to them, just getting my ass out, just winding them up. And then this one bloke at Hyde, I swear down, I wanted to climb over the fence when he said this. He says, "Oh, keeper," I said, "Me, what?" He said, "Your mum likes it up the ass." Oh, well, that was it. Honestly, do you know what I mean? It's banter. That's what you're going to get. You know, you'd get worse if you were playing be in front of 40,000 people.
Yeah.
But for him to come out with that, and what had happened was, they'd got a corner, and I collected the corner and I hit a long one quick, and I was centre forward. It bounced once, and he buried it, and we went 1-0 up. And I turned round to him and I says, "I think my mum will be getting it up the arse tonight." Anyway, that was that. After that, they were spot on. Do you know what I mean? But the crack of supporters is unbelievable. I used to love it. I used to drive off at me. I honestly, I used to tell them what I was going to do next. I used to say, right, well, I'll catch this corner here, and then I'll do that. We played Sudbury. I was playing for Bedlington Terriers. I'd signed for Bedlington, worst footballing time of my career, because they signed me on the strength of that game that I had at Durham City against them, and knew what I could do. So we played. Honestly, it was the worst football. It never worked out for me there. Nice people, but it never worked out for me. Playing at Sudbury, all their fans. Sudbury were a great side. I was in the Vars for Bedlington, and they're all behind the goal shouting away. Anyway, the photographers are all there, so I'm starting to lay on the floor like that, getting me, the family photos. I'm pausing everywhere, and I hear Keith Perry shout, "What the fuck?" fuck are you doing? I'm getting myself in the Sudbury Gazette, man, Keith. As I'm laid like that, he was going off. He was off his head, Keith. Like he was mental, that man. But yeah, the crowds. Honestly, I loved every minute of that. I don't miss that because you can't be good banter. But like you say, you get the odd one. It gets a little bit personal, close. Do you know what I mean? But that's football. It's
funny though, because like you say, you can give and take away. I know. I mean, I was just caught the second half yesterday on the hub, and there's a couple of like people said something to Cheshire keeper, and they're just like young keepers now, and they kind of take them, they're just giving a bit back, and obviously a goal goes in. You just see the steam coming off them. Like honestly, it's like they kind of take it all.
If them supporters are getting one over on you, you're on hiding to nothing. Do you know what I mean? You're better off just giving them it back, and hopefully nothing goes wrong in the game for yourself where you drop a clanger. Which we all do. But yeah, if you can give it and take it, you're laughing. But if you can't, like you say, the young kids, they don't know what to do. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. Definitely. But if you're in goal and you're mad, then you should be able to take that stick. Do you know what I mean? It is.
I mean, as a goalkeeper as well, you mentioned they obviously, like, you're noticing obviously people take the photos at like games and stuff and that, and you see other things obviously where people for 90 minutes the ball could be down the other end of the pitch. But what's kind of the strangest thing that you've seen obviously around the non-league, and like we've seen the non-league day yesterday, we've had loads of pictures put on with people like the dogs running on the pitch and stuff happening in the crowd. I mean, what's the strangest thing you've seen or behind yourself?
What have I seen? I've never. I'll be honest with you. I've never really. There's never really been anything like that. It's weird. It's because I would have thought something like that. I would have had something like that to tell, but to be honest, I haven't. It's unless it's probably just me who was the weirdest. You know what was weird on the pitch. But no, I've never. I can honestly say I've never had anything weird. The only weird thing was I think Craig touched on it the other way. Craig Robson was at Bedlington Terriers when Keith brought the eggs in and was smashing them in the dressing room, and he had an iron bar, and he's hitting the fucking eggs, and he's saying to everyone, "Fucking hold the bar now, get hold of this bar, touch the bar." And I'm like, I couldn't look at him. I was pissing myself laughing. But Keith was like so serious. Do you know what I mean? I mean, there was one week we were waiting for our wages, and I think Keith had put $2,000 on a horse, and we were waiting for this horse to come in.
Oh no way!
We could get paid, and the horse come second. And the lads were like, "I've only got 3 miles left in my tank. How am I going to get home from it yet? No one got no wages." Unbelievable, man. But he was off his head. Him, Keith, lovely fella, but absolutely off his head. Yeah.
Class, man. And obviously getting on with your playing days and getting towards the end, when did you kind of know it was kind of right, this is about time now, I need to pack up my gloves?
Well, you know it's time to pack up when you're hitting the 18.5 stone, right? I went up to about 18.5 stone, and I was playing for Crooktown for Gary Pearson, one of my great friends, Gary. Do you know what I mean? God love him, honestly. Massive miss, that lad. And I was there, and he said, "Richo," and what had happened was some young centre forward, young cheeky kid, about 19, 20, had went round me. Well, I could get down, but I couldn't get back up, right? And he just ran past me, put it at the back of the net, and he patted me on the head. He said, "Unlucky, you fat bastard." I thought, yeah, do you know what I mean? This is me done. So I said to Gaz, I said, "Listen, I'm done with it now, Gaz." I said, "This is my last season anyway." He was pushing from to win the league for promotion.
Yeah.
So I said, right. He said, "1 more season, Richo." So I said, right, I'll give it. And anyway, I couldn't do it, James. I was blown out my ass. I give him. There was quite a few games left because I couldn't do it anymore. And Barry Poskett took over and went in goal.
Oh yes, yeah.
But I still hung around there. Do you know what I mean? I said, "Listen, I'll stay and I'll go on the bench because if Baz gets sent off, because Baz was one to chuck the towel in now and then. He could trip over his bottom lip. Him, honestly, the big lump, Baz." But yeah, great lad, Baz. So I just hung around, and that was it. When I was 40, I left it till I was 40, and then I thought, nah, that's it now. It's then I slimmed right down and went down to 11 stone 9, and I thought, shall I make a comeback? And I thought, no, but now I'm back up. I'm up to 15.5 now, so I'm happy. Yeah.
Well, lovely Barry actually. I remember playing a couple. I think a season or two at Sherborne with him. Cracking lad, yeah.
Lovely lad, Barry. He's Alan Shoulder. He's married to Alan Shoulder's daughter, Louise.
Right.
And Alan used to come in and say about him, like, "Baz, that fat lazy bastard lays on my couch with the remote." Do you know he's got the remote down his shorts? He said, honestly, I think Alan wanted to throttle him. But like you say, but Baz, lovely lad, Baz. Honestly, had some good laughs with Baz. Nice lad.
And looking back at it, obviously like the stories and stuff like that. I know you mentioned before you didn't miss it. I mean, looking back now, do you kind of miss not going? Do you still get out a few games now and again, or do you miss the banter, or is it more the change room stuff that you miss?
Oh, the changing rooms. Oh my God! Honestly, the changing rooms were second. Honestly, they were the highlight of my day. Right, I used to always take 2 towels because if someone forgot one and like who didn't want to go in the shower, I would say I brought a towel. And there was one. Honestly, there was one time. Remember Michael McKay that used to play for Concert and then signed
Yes,
for
yeah,
Hartlepool? He would never ever get a shower right. I've never seen anyone cling onto the pegs on like on the dressing room. Gaz Pearson is dragging them off, right, to get him in the shower. And I mean dragging them. The pegs come off. Honest, he had hold of them that tight. So Gaz chucked them in the shower. But he used to go in the shower. If he ever did go in, he'd go in with his strip on. I'd be like, eh? What's happening here? Do you know what I mean? But like say in the shower, like Gaz, obviously, and it all stemmed from Reggie as well. When in the same days, you'd be stood there getting showered, and all of a sudden there'd be somewhat warm on you, and they were a nightmare for pissing all over everyone. Do you know what I mean? So I joined the gang. So we used to single people out and wait for them. There was either Stewie Irvine or Stewie Brightwell. They used to get like pissed all over them two. Do you know what I mean? Because the banter in the dressing room was unreal. I used to just love it. It was brilliant. That's a big miss, that, because that's half of having a good side. That if
it
you've got
is.
the dressing room and you have good crack in there, everyone's together. You know you're there. Do you know what I mean? You're the makings of a good side. And like these away trips, I used to go to Magaluf every year with Brian and them, and all the old heads. Do you know what I mean? And all the footballing lads used to be me every year. Like say Mickey Taylor would be in a pub somewhere in Benidorm, and all of a sudden Mickey'd come out with not a stitch on, with his clothes folded up, and just his man bag on, just walking about and out on. Do you know what I mean? It was mad. They were the best times then. Yeah.
Oh, crazy man! Is it? Like you say, I know we used to like obviously at New College Durham, we had a cracking side there, and there was one lad he used to like get it all the time, but he used to give it as well. He was really good, and there was one time he was in the shower, and there was a lad who had the exact same pair of trainers as him. So what we did, we kind of hid one of the pair of trainers. We said, "Oh, he's took your trainers. He's gone already." But he was in the shower, so this lad just thought, "Right, what size is he? Oh, size 7." He's put them on. He's gone home. And by the time this lad came out, he says, "Where's my trainers gone?" I says, "Oh, well, these pair of Nike pair." Aye, aye. I says, "Oh, well, the lad's thought it was him. He's gone now." So by the time he's come out the shower, he's about 10 minutes. His bus is due. He's had to put his Adidas Predators back on, obviously metal studs, and all you hear him is running out this changing room, running out past the college, and it's just like a little horse running after this bus, man. But it's where it's all built up, though, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
just
it is
class
honestly
banter, man, isn't it?
some of the stuff that used to go on. Do you know what I mean? It was unbelievable. Like say our physio, Skeddy, Tony Sked was there for a bit, and he used to cut my toenails on a Tuesday night at training, and he used to say, "Don't tell anyone, Richard." Do you know what I mean? And he used to have his little boy with him. I think it was Dylan. It used to be then. He used to say, "Dylan, don't dare tell your mum I'm cutting someone's toenails." It was just, the crack was unreal. I think I bought him a pair of nail clippers for Christmas, so he could cut my toenails, like, you know what I mean, a new pair. But yeah, I miss all that. It was good crack. It was really good crack in the dressing rooms.
And ever thought about management or getting into it or anything like that?
No chance. Not a prayer would I manage a team. I've said you turn into a born liar, right? Because honestly, I never ever thought Gaz Pearson would become I said you'll turn into the biggest wanker, Gaz, and you'll be a compulsive liar. I said because no managers tell the truth. I said they're all lying bastards. Do you know what I mean? So for me, not a prayer. No way would I get involved with that. No, no, it doesn't work. I've never seen many goalkeepers become managers. I don't
I
know.
know, so yeah. Uh-huh.
It's not.
Even in the professional game, yeah.
Yeah, I've never known it. So you leave it to the outfield players. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them. But I couldn't. I don't know. I think you fall out with people. So you just, you know what I mean. Just stick to what it is.
And getting on to our quick fire on, which I can't wait for this one. We've had a couple of extra questions in for you as well on this one. So, number one, who would be the best manager that you've worked under and why?
Brian Honour, all day long, because of how professional he was. Do you know what I mean? And we had a great team. The success was superb. So yeah, Brian Honour all day long.
Best teammate that you've played with and why?
Well, it can only be one man, which is Gary Pearson. Do you know what I mean? Gary from getting to the matches was just non-stop laughing. We had a laugh. Honestly, Gaz was mental. All he used to say was, "Get the skin back, Richo. Get your skin." Do you know what I mean? His crack was he was filthy, and he was funny, and he was perfect, Gaz, and he was the best footballing friend.
I know I'm trying now. I've top my head now. I can't remember it now, but Ian told a great story. I think it was when they were playing for Nissan and they were down somewhere and they got beat. Coming back, and the manager, I can't remember at the time, was just really pissed off of how bad they played. And he said something like there was a fire at the back of the bus or something. Gaz Pierce hanging out the back of the window, and something like he says, "No wonder we can't win a fucking match when he's getting on." Like I can't remember the story now. It was something like that, but it was brilliant.
It will have been Wilfie Constantine who was the manager.
Yes, I think that's
Because I played for Nissan with Gaz there, and like there was one game me and Gaz were just sat in the dugout and out on, not a stitch, just sat. And Wilf was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" We were just having a laugh, Wilf, you know what I mean? And Gaz is like trying to touch me, and I said, "Get his skin back," and all that. I'm like, "Gaz, man." But yeah, honestly, best times ever with him. Unreal. But I made a lot of other friends, but Gaz was the main one, stands out.
Brilliant. And number 3, the best striker that you faced.
Best striker. I mean, Gavin Cogden. Absolutely, for the size of him. And how high he could jump. It was like a freak. It was weird. Do you know what I mean? It was like someone had like put him in a cannon and fired him out of it. Like the height he could get, and like his skill and speed. Yeah, I've seen nothing like it. He should have went higher him.
Oh, 100%.
What a striker. I mean, there was other good players. Adam Johnson. Do you know what I mean? There was loads. And like you say, back in my day, there was a good striker, Colin McLeod. He used to play for Concert.
Right.
He was a good striker as well. But yeah, for me, it's got to be Titch, Gav Cogden.
And the grounds that you've played at over the years, what was the bogey ground where you just couldn't pick a winner, or something always dropped a clanger, or that certain ground?
It was West Auckland. I hated that pitch. That pitch was an absolute disgrace. That shouldn't have been. You should never have been able to play on that. It went all directions. It was horrible. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, West couldn't stand West Auckland. Used to think, should I just ring up and say I'm injured? But I thought, no. Do you know what I mean? I had a couple of nightmares there as well. So yeah, West Auckland all day long.
The number 5, I think I know the answer for this one, but just in case anyone's tuning back in now, your best save.
Obviously, that won the Gordon Banks style. Do you know what I mean? That'll go to the grave with me. That it's absolutely superb save. But yeah, I meant to tell you about just quickly about the awards. There was an award I got when I signed for Tow Law. Honest, this was just unreal. This Tow Law, I signed for them. So you know what the weather's like up there. It could be sunny in Durham, and you go up there and it'd be like 2 foot of snow. So anyway, I played for them, and I think I'd saved 4 penalties in a shootout in this cup match. So anyway, I'm in the clubhouse the following week, and there's a guy there called Dave who always wore a cowboy hat. He was like a line dancer type of fella. And they've done a special award, right, for me, best newcomer. Can you come up and receive best newcomer? I thought it was on the Brit Awards. Honestly, fucking best newcomer. I looked at that, and I think it was on the 689. I fucking slung it. You don't give me that. Do you know what I mean? Fucking best newcomer. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
And number 6, best footballer moment for yourself.
It was the best. Mine was obviously with Crook having that cup run.
Yeah.
Like, obviously back then it was an hard league. There were all games were every game was a hard game because it was always tight the Northern League. But like say having the run beating the likes of Hyde and Lee RMI. Yeah, that was a Crook definitely.
Excellent. And then to finish off, we always ask them funny story. I know we had some cracking stories last week from Brycer. Any cracking good stories to end off?
No, I think I've told you most of them in the other questions, which I should have saved them for the end. Really, no. I think one of my claim to fame is having champagne and kippers with Dickie Ord one morning after we'd played away in Liverpool. Honestly, Dickie was just off the scale. Him like when he obviously packed the professional game in and signed for Durham. What a signing he was. Do you know what I mean? But no, that was. I mean, Dickie used to just have boxes of wine on the back of the bus, you know, with the tap on.
Aye. Oh yes,
What was with the tap on? Shout the youngins, get us another box, will you? This one's empty. But no, it was just obviously, like I say, what I've told you throughout this, you know. But I've had a good time. I had a great time in the Northern League. So, and like I say, I played for Whitby now back then and Gateshead for a bit. But yeah, it was brilliant.
Excellent. And I think that's one thing I've seen now from doing the Facebook group and these shows like this is just stories after stories, and people have kind of messaged to it, like even when people's been due to come on and stuff, and I've said, oh, such and such is coming on, and the stories start on the post. Can you remember this time? Can you remember that time?
Yeah.
I get a text message 2-3 weeks after, even like Bryson messaged a couple of days ago saying, oh, I met someone in the town, they were saying this, they were saying that, laughing their head off and stuff like that. And it's just nice to get all the memories and share them again, isn't it?
It is, and hats off to yourself, you know, James, for doing this. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, you've got a family, you've got a missus, but you're taking your time out, and like what you do is an absolute credit to the Northern League. It's absolutely superb, and obviously, I hope like it just goes higher and higher for you all the way, mate.
No, I really appreciate that. Like I say, we always say what we're trying to do, the main aim of it, we hit that 1,000, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we do it very shortly. Because what we'd love to do is when we get to 1,000, you get these adverts and you're getting paid and stuff like that. We want to sponsor as many players as we can. Sponsor, if we get, depending on how much money, sponsor shirts, the boards on the ground, grassroots football. We just want to give it all back and support the North East as much as we can, which is the main thing as well.
Yeah, perfect, mate. And fingers crossed for you. Honestly, good luck.
No, and thank you as well for the goalie gloves. I know he's just got to bed there, but one very happy lad. He cannot wait. He's
oh no bother, mate. They'll be in the post on Monday for him, so he'll be able to sleep in them. So,
he's absolutely buzzing.
Nice one, mate. Nice one. Yeah.
Excellent. But no, thank you so much for coming on. Everyone that's been watching as well, we really appreciate your support as always. I know we've got a busy week coming up again Thursday night. Northern League special, the final hurdle, looking at the title race in both divisions. Have you been keeping a tab on it this season, Mark? Quite a close one, isn't it?
On the what?
On the both Division 1, Division 2 title races.
Oh no, I haven't really seen it, James. To be honest, mate. Like you say, I'm just ignorant to it all now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's mad. I'm tied up with work and obviously the family. Do you know? So I don't really get the chance. And I mean, I've been looking forward to this. Do you know? So this has been sort of like the build-up's been unreal, man. I've been speaking to people. Do you know what I mean? And they're like, "Oh God, what you going to be saying on there, talking shite?" Do you know what I mean? As they do. But yeah, I don't take any notice now. It's mad. I like to say I got the odd Newcastle game, which they're doing well at the minute, which is good for the North East. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully, you know, they can win something, or things will get even better for them, because the support's unreal. Do you know, if you made that into 100,000 seater, that they'd fill that.
Oh, easy.
It's mad. Do you know it is? It's just a great day out from start to finish up there.
No, it's brilliant. And another striker coming on Sunday that you may have faced there, Warren Byrne. Hopefully, if he gets his work sorted.
Chop and Bosch, honestly, for the size of him, little leg on legs, he was the fattest little striker. I forgot to mention Warren because he was deadly. Him, like, honestly, Chop and Bosch, what the skills and the goals he scored. He was another one that used to give me the toss aside when he scored passes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And just good crack, but great lad, Warren, lovely lad. I'll be tuning in for him like egg on legs.
I know we've got some great guests coming up between now and my holiday and me, and I know we're starting to get requests to come out in May, June, July now. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah. But we're trying to get a few more squeezed in between now and holiday as well. But again, thank you so much for coming on the show, Marc. I really appreciate it.
Honestly,
and thanks everyone for watching.
Absolute pleasure, James. Honestly, mate.
Excellent.
All right. Cheers, mate. Take care.